It's no matter.
Okay, cool. How about Nofret, just to have an idea? Are you interested in younger kids or older kids? Can you hear me? Nofret? Nofret?
Yes, I'm
No?
having problems, I think.
Okay, no problem. So I think maybe I can just introduce to you what I did with EF, and then if you have any questions about that, you can ask me, and then maybe Patrick can talk more about his role. So as Frankie already mentioned, I taught many of the young students at EF, so starting from 5 years old, um, all the way until older students as well, but I did specialize in classroom management with young children. Um, a lot of them had not gone to school yet, so they are not used to what it is like to sit down for 1 hour and listen for 1 hour to a teacher. And it's very exciting because it's all new for them. So for me, a big focus was classroom management. So every time the students come to the classroom, they have the same routine every time so that they understand and they know what to do when they come to the classroom. They understand what is good and what is not so good for their behavior. So if they want to scream and run around, ah, I do not say, no, 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 shh, quiet. I just look at the children who are really good, who are sitting nicely, and they get the reward. So I give the students who are doing a good job, high five, great job, stars. And the students who are not being so good, then they think, oh, I want a high five. I want a star. And then maybe they will sit down and they start to follow this routine. So I would say with small stars, with young students, it's really important to be consistent, to be the same in every class. Always give a high five if they do a good job, and also make sure that the students who are not doing well in behavior are listening and focusing on why it's not good and why everyone else is getting a star or getting a high five. And the more you do it, the more they understand, this is good and this is bad. And every time then, even if I'm not in the classroom, when the students come in, they know what to do. They know I come into the classroom, I put my bag here, I sit down, and then the teacher comes. So that if Frankie has to teach the class, they are already okay. They won't go, a new teacher, crazy.
No.
So that for me is a really big focus with young students, is to make sure you have a routine to act the same with the students. So giving a reward the same times so they understand and they can see, this is good and this is bad. Another thing that was important for us is that because these students are not used to sitting and being in a classroom, we had to make it very interactive. So make sure the students are not just sitting and listening to me. I don't have to practice my English. The students have to practice their English. So it's important to think of activities that they can play with each other. They can work with each other, not just teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student. We want all children to work at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's really hard.
Exactly.
So that's why it's important to have a good routine with them,
Yeah.
so that they understand my teacher trusts me to work with my friend. And that's really cool. I want to do that. And when they are all working at the same time, they are all speaking English at the same time, and we can increase the level of English that everyone is speaking at the same time. And that's really important, because then the class together can get better at English. And it's not just one student, one student, one student. If you have one really good student, they will speak a lot. And the one who's shy, they will not speak so much. So it's important to give everyone the same chance to speak. So those are just some general ideas about how I focus my teaching with young learners. Are there any specific questions about that? Yeah, Patrick.
May I add just something that I found very important? For me, I think especially with young students, sometimes you get focused on their bad behavior, and your what you want to do as a teacher is to say, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. But sometimes they're looking for attention from the teacher, and it's much more effective to ignore the student who's doing this bad behavior, to don't say anything, don't look at them, and look at their friend next to them and say, good job, I like that you are sitting down, or I like that you are doing the right thing, and make it very obvious to the student who is doing the bad behavior that this is the good behavior, and highlight this, and then they will change their behavior to do the correct behavior.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, hi, Panani. Pak Ako. Okay. So, Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick, Panani and Pak Ako also lecturers in UKW University, my university.
Yeah.
Pak Ako, can you say hi? Oh, Pak Ako, I think Pak Ako have problem with that. So, he is the leader of English study program in our university. So,
Very cool.
Great.
yeah, so he also joined with us. So we have 3 lecturers right now here. They join with us. Okay. So yeah, teaching kids very difficult, of course, totally difficult. I have tried once. Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick knew this because when I did that, they're all crazy. They're crying because they cannot see my face. And that's a very bad experience that I have. But then when I taught the class, yeah, I think I learned many things from Miss Olive. How Miss Olive managed the class, like you know, giving stars and making students sit nicely, follow the rules. Yeah, it's a lot of things from that I learned from Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick. So yeah, guys. So if you have any specific questions that you think you're gonna deliver to Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick, you're free to go.
Specifically about young students. Yeah,
yeah, specifically about young students. Yeah, specifically
4, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah. So Pak Ako and Pak Nani, Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick, they used to be English teachers in EF, but now they are moving to Germany. So they live in Germany now. Miss Olive now teaching in. Sorry, Miss Olive, I don't know your school name. So.
No, I teach for an online language company. So yeah. I am a teacher trainer now. I help teachers teach online, actually, many different languages.
Yeah. Okay. And Mr. Patrick is now.
And for me, I'm a student, but also teaching Chinese students online.
Chinese students, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Ibu Tiar, maybe do you have any specific question, or Pak Aku, Pak Nani, Predic, Tony?
I guess maybe we can. Yeah, go ahead, Tia.
Okay. I'd like to ask a question. It is about you. You said that Mr. Frank. You said that Olivia is teaching online, right? So can you show us, or can you tell us about the platform, the online platform for the kids to learn online, to learn English online? What is the can you show mention one example of platform that we can use to teach children online? Thank you.
Sure. Pat, do you want me to take over, or do you want to?
I think we both have a good answer to this question. So go ahead.
Okay, so when we teach children online, we teach with another company that has a platform designed for children. So they have AR stickers and gifts that you can put there. But if you want to teach English, for example, right now, coronavirus is very affecting teachers, and a lot of teachers have to teach online now. So if you want to start from your home, I would honestly recommend, sorry everyone, can you put your microphones on mute because we have some background noise? And I don't know where it's coming from, but it makes it difficult to hear.
Yeah. Wait, I'm just.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
If you want to teach online on your own, I honestly would recommend either Skype or Zoom because you can do screen sharing options. What's really teaching children online is very difficult because you don't have that personal interaction. You cannot have the high five. You only have this that you are working with.
Yeah.
So I think using screen sharing is really good so that you can show them maybe a fun video. Maybe you can do some interactive games online while talking to them. So you are really guiding the student more during activities that maybe they can do. I think that's the best thing on your own. I cannot recommend a specific platform with activities that are already there because those are developed for companies. Unless, Pat, do you have another one?
So I teach for a company called Vipkid, and this is a quite a famous company, I think, from China. And yeah, again, they have their own content, so it's not really something that you can use their platform for yourself. But for me, I think the biggest tip is from changing from a classroom teacher to an online teacher, because you have only this thing to interact with the students, right? You can't connect with them with dancing or movement, really.
Yeah.
So I think you need to use this space in your screen and do a lot of movement. Sometimes I have lots of props. Good job, you get a star. And I have a huge box of toys and whiteboards and lots of things to keep the students, especially the young students, focused on the camera because their brains are not trained to look at a screen
Right.
and watch somebody and interact with someone like this, especially because they can't understand a lot of what I say. So it gets boring. Even though my lessons are 25 minutes and it's just one-on-one, it still gets boring for some of the students. So having lots of things, exciting things in the screen, so they'll say, oh, cool, that's fun. And lots of action is really your friend. It's helpful. The other thing, I think this screen sharing with Zoom is quite helpful because you can see everyone in your class. I think other platforms, it's not as easy to see all the faces together on the same screen. So right now I'm looking at all of you, which is really, it's great. And I think with maybe Skype, it's not so easy to look at everyone this way.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, so, yeah, Pak Ako? Yes? Just wait a sec, bro. I'm gonna unmute you first. Okay. Oh, it's difficult to. Yes. Oops. Wait a sec. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, first, thank you, Frankie, for hosting this, and welcome, Patrick and Olive, to English Education Study Program. I'm happy to share with us on this. Well, the topic of today, the lessons. What I'm asking for you to share us is, you are leaving English first, so you are moving. But then, what can we do from English education? We are preparing prospective teachers. So, what would you like to suggest us to prepare our students, teacher facing teens and kids? So, would you like to give us some tips and suggestions? Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Pak Ako.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect question.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
I guess I can go first.
Yeah, Olive,
So
yes.
okay, I want to know how many of you have taught before? Who has been in the classroom before? Can you raise your hand? Okay, who has not been in the classroom and they are studying? They are not in the classroom yet.
I think
Not yet.
Felix.
Okay. Okay, so some of you have taught before, some of you not yet. Tell me, out of everyone, then maybe you can feel the same way I felt. The first time I was teaching in the classroom, you have all the children around you and you think, okay, what did I learn in school? I know I need to do this, I need to have classroom management, I need to have good instructions. But when you are in the classroom, it can be more chaotic than what you imagined. You think, oh, I'm out of control. This is, I'm trying to think what I learned from my books. Now I have to do it in classroom. Be patient, take a deep breath. It will take some time when you start teaching with any new classroom to understand the dynamic of your group and the individual students. I would say be patient, be consistent. I think being consistent is really important. So acting the same towards your student, rewarding the same behavior, the same good behavior always, so the students know what to expect. I think that's very important. And to know that over time, when you get to know your students, you understand what are they good at, what are they not so good at. You can plan your lessons to make them even more effective for your group. So you know these activities work really well with this group, but this group activity doesn't work with that class because I have these two troublemakers and they will, you know, they will kind of make it very noisy. So you can think of other activities and adapt it. But my biggest tips for you is be patient and be consistent in your teaching style and your classroom management, which is harder than it sounds. I have to say, it's harder than it sounds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add a little bit to that. So I think to give Olive's example a little bit more support is think about different learning styles when you're planning your classroom activities as well. So she mentioned different behaviors. If you have some kids that are always being naughty, then maybe you can't do the same group activity with a really good class with lots of girls maybe.
Yeah.
But also think about learning styles. Some classes, maybe for older students, they really hate writing, but they're very visual. They like drawing. They can make a poster to show what they have learned instead of just sitting and writing by themselves. Or maybe a class that's very social, think about how to do a speaking activity with some more interaction, more conversation. Again, because some students, they hate writing. Yeah, it's very, very common. They hate writing.
Can I add something to that, Pat? To your writing part?
Okay.
Oh, I'll let you finish first, and then I'll add something.
Go ahead. I have another point, but
no, just because you mentioned writing, I think it's really good to remember when you teach, especially older students, they are students, so they are studying all day long. And I think when you are learning English as a foreign language, Pat mentioned a good point, is we want to try and take the time we have together in the classroom to do a lot of speaking, because outside of the classroom, they might not get to speak so much. You know, you don't have to do traditional teaching techniques where you sit and you write and you are quiet. Why not have a lot of speaking in the classroom, and then for homework, they can do a lot of the writing. That's quiet work. We can check it quietly, but I think it's good to try and get them speaking a lot, because outside in Kupang on the streets, I mean, there's not that many people to practice your English with. So try to practice it with them in the classroom too. Go ahead, Pat.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other point I think is, I think especially for students who are going to be teachers, it's very easy to focus on the English part. Yeah, you want to make sure that you know all the grammar rules and all the vocabulary and all of these things. But especially with young students, I think the classroom management is almost as important as the English knowledge. So you can have a teacher who knows everything about English, but they have no ability to control the students and control the behavior. And this is really a bad thing. And we can see this in the classroom sometimes. So try to find a balance. Of course, the English is important, but also the behavior and the management of the students is also very important.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, also the experience in the school as well, like teacher, like students, English students, for example, teacher in university, they only know how to do the English lesson, but it's difficult to control. Like you said, Pat, managing classroom is very difficult. Even me, when now I'm teaching also in EF, but it's difficult for me to manage the classroom. Exactly, it's really difficult. Yeah. So students coming with their own characters. Yeah. So naughty students. Yeah. Quiet.
Yeah.
Inviting them to speak is so difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you have a class that's been together for a long time, and then you have some new students coming in.
Yeah.
They're quite shy.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe any other
questions about young students?
Panani? King? Maybe? No. Jenny? Hi. Okay, Nafred, okay, Nafred is in hand, I think. Yes, wait a sec, Nafred. Okay. Yes. Okay, what is it? I'm trying to unmute you, but just wait a it's difficult. Okay. You wait. No, it's not working from here. Nafrid, can you please unmute from your screen, I think? Yes. Okay. I don't know how to handle this. It's not working here. Nafrid, maybe you can help from your... Oh.
You just had it.
Yeah, one more time, Nofra.
Okay. He cannot. Nofred,
can you click on the 3 dots in your screen? And
yes. Okay. Now you got it. Okay, Nofred.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Cool.
I think this is a good opportunity for me. This is the first time I join with Zoom meeting, so I feel something like nervous, but I appreciate. At the first, I miss the first speaking. So before that, I say thank you very much for Mr. Pet and Miss Olive. That I just follow some explanation of how the students learn, organize the students, learn in the classroom. So I'm as a student, I always learn with. I always learn more using video. So it can help me to improve my ability, improve my my English speaking as well. More than I have to read the textbook, so it make me boring.
Yeah.
So I think every students have different way to learn English, especially.
Okay.
So.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you have any specific question of it? Like maybe you want to ask something related to how teachers manage because we're talking about small kids like SD, SMP, and TK. So if you have specific question, Pat, yes.
Yeah. Just thinking about the previous question from Tia.
Yeah.
about how to use the platforms. And I think especially with young learners, it's good to have several different kind of learning styles and change these during the lesson, because even a class that really likes one activity or one kind of thing, young students, they get bored after some time. So having lots of changes to the kinds of things that you're doing. So new kinds of things to keep them engaged and interested. So I think maybe Nofret, if you're using an online platform, maybe doing some activity with the students and then maybe changing to a short video, not a long video, but a short video, maybe some singing. This can help keep them interested in the lesson instead of just the same kind of activity again and again and again.
Yes.
And children really like videos. I know many of you probably see they're looking at their phone, looking at YouTube in the restaurant, and they see lots of colors. So if you can play a video in the classroom, if you can, it's nice, but I would say use it as a reward. If they are being good, then you get to watch a video and dance around. But if they are not behaving well, no video today. And they're going, oh, okay, but I want the video. Well, show me how you can sit down and be quiet. Okay, now we can watch a video. And then you can show them how their good behavior is being rewarded. I would also just be careful not to do too many videos, because it's really hard to get them to then come down and focus on you.
Okay.
Sorry,
Daniel?
I've learned a lot about how to be very active with my hands and my face from watching children's videos as well. So if you want a student to speak to you, now hold your ear. Okay, things like this to get the students to interact.
Okay, Anani.
Yeah. So thank you and welcome, Patrick and Olivia.
Thank you.
And thank you, Pak Dani, for organizing this talk. And I'm interested in the classroom management. Okay. From your experience, and I myself, there are some experience. As Olivia has explained, be patient for us as a teacher and come down for every situation, but it's kind of hard, very hard problem for me sometimes. But one thing that I found, I was thinking about is that, yes, for us as a teacher, of course, we should fulfill those things, requirements like patience and everything. But from your experience, do you think there is a difference between students in one place and other places? My experience is this: when I taught some students in the cities, Kupang, for example, a little bit easier with those in the village, because in church, my church, I try to teach English for the kids in Sunday schools.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. I don't know what's the problem with the students. I mean, maybe those who live in Kupang, I mean, the city is a little bit different with them, but because I try to use the same method and the same instrument, tools, and that's my problem. So from your experience, do you have any suggestion for this? At least students, what should we do to prepare the students to attend the class? Thank you.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, exactly.
Olivia, go ahead.
Okay. I think that's a really good question, and I think it's really interesting that you say the way the students behave in different places is something you can see in the classroom. And I think something that's important to remember is maybe the expectations that the students have before they come to the classroom. In the city, there's more of a focus on education, and maybe there's more of a, I don't know, students think, okay, I want to speak English because I want to, I don't know, speak to travelers or travel myself, and to gain the skill. And maybe when you are working outside of the city, more in the village, students don't have quite as much focus on what is a classroom. Because in the city, maybe it's more traditional. Okay, we go to the classroom, we sit, we have our books, and we learn. And that's not the style that was taught or, you know, told to the students in the villages more. And that's okay. That's okay. But like you said, Patnani, you have to maybe think, okay, so this technique doesn't work with these students. I don't know, can you tell me, Patnani, were they all crazy running around or jumping around, or why were the students so difficult at Sunday school?
I think
Patnani, can you tell me what was so difficult about the students?
You're muted right now.
oh yeah, Panani. Can you click on your unmute? Yes, here you go. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Miss Olive asking you ask you a question, Panani.
Why were the students at Sunday school harder to teach?
Because
Sorry, the internet is on.
so yeah, I think
No problem, no problem. I think
Problem.
what I want to say is if they are not used to sitting and writing, then change your focus of the lesson and say, okay, we're going to play games in English. And even though you're not studying traditional, through games and action and activities, the students will learn so many words. Sit down, stand up, listen. It doesn't have to be, okay, I'm the teacher and I teach you. It can be, hey, we're playing games today. And the students don't know that they are learning. So for them, they think, oh, cool, games. But at the end, they've learned 5 new words and they didn't even know. So, you know, you can think about the fact that just making an environment in English, it doesn't have to be writing, listening, and being serious, but making an environment in English, like playing games, singing songs, it can be a really fun way to learn, really active way to learn. And the students have fun. And then at the end, they still remember it because they sing the songs when they go home. You know, old MacDonald had a farm. Yeah. And the more they do that, the more they will remember these words.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think the expectation part is clear. For me, I think students, maybe when they're going to church, they think this is a place for me to socialize, to be with friends. And maybe it's hard for them to think about, this is on a Sunday usually, and I'm with my friends. I don't want to learn. So think about their expectations. What do they want when they come to church on Sunday? Is it, and try to make it fun and social, but also getting some English learning as well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jenny, do you have any questions? Fredix? Yes, Fredix. Okay. Wait a sec, bro. Wait a second.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you, Pak Dani, for hosting this talk, and welcome Mr. Patrick and Miss Olive. And I'd like to share you my experiences when I was doing my teaching practice at a school, and it's about managing the class. And at the time, I found it very hard because the first time when I entered the class and I got nervous because I was thinking that what should I what would I do during my teaching, right? And at the time I found one of the students. He's a naughty guy in the class, and that students tried to fool me because, and at the time I was about to cry because it seems that I was not his, maybe his real teacher. That's why he tried to disturb my lesson. And at the time, the things that I did, I just asked him to leave the class. And I said to him that if you are not interested in my class, just go out. And it's not problem for me. At least you don't stop the others. And my question is that the way that I was doing during my teaching practice is the right way or not. And maybe you both can give me some suggestion or some comment about that kind of experience.
A good one.
I
So,
think
Mr.
that's all.
Yeah, Mr. Patrick, I think that's kind of Kupang style, yeah. So, out, out. Okay, hi, Miss Jolie.
Hi.
Okay, Mr. Patrick, Miss
Hi,
Olive.
welcome.
Okay, yeah.
I think I will start with this one. I have also had this problem. So I think first thing to remember is that, especially as a new teacher, it is very nervous. It's easy to be nervous, right? It's very normal. You know that the students will try to test you and see, oh, is he a good teacher? Is he a tough guy? What is he like? And they will try to test you. So it's normal to be nervous, and you should expect this. I think, of course, a teacher needs to have a lot of patience. And I think Miss Olive has much more patience than I in the classroom. I have kicked students out of my classroom before for some things.
Oh, yeah.
As well, yeah. So it's not a good situation. And I think sometimes it's necessary. Yeah, you need to protect the learning environment in your class. If you have one student who's being very, very naughty all the time, and it makes it so all the other students, 10, 20, 30 other students cannot learn, this is a huge problem. But I think you need to try lots of things before you say, okay, enough, and kick the student out of the classroom. So this is where the experience comes, is learning all the things you can do before you have to say, out of my classroom now. Because this is also a big distraction in the classroom. If a student is being so naughty that you say you have to leave, then all of the students, oh, the teacher, they made the student leave. And then you have to wait for 5, 10, sometimes 30 minutes to get the focus back to you after you say leave the classroom. Olive, do you have maybe some context about the steps you can take leading up to the student leaving the classroom?
Yeah, I don't know how old this student was, Federico. Can you tell me what was the age?
He was about 15 or 16 years old.
Okay. So 15 or 16, this is somebody that you can talk to. It's not like a 5-year-old where you, you know, we are still teaching them the rules. I think that's an important point to keep in mind, is that this is an older student. Again, as Patrick mentioned, this is attention-seeking behavior. Yeah. So they want your attention. They want the attention of the classroom. And making them leave is giving them a lot more attention. Plus, they get out of class. Yes, I can go out of the classroom and stand on the balcony. That's great. We don't want to give them that reward if you have another choice. So for steps that you can take with older students, first of all, I would still try your best to kind of ignore that student. You can ask them to sit in a different location in the class and also be consistent with that. So, hey, let's say Frankie, okay? Frankie, you're being very naughty today, or you are not behaving well. So why don't you come to the front of the class for the next few, and you're gonna sit here on your own.
Okay.
You don't get to sit with anyone if you have that option. And they are in the front of the class. It's a punishment, but you're punishing them by staying in the classroom and being in the very, very front. I would say in those cases as well, if you have to do pair work, pair that student with one of your well-behaved students. Try not to pair them with a friend, somebody who you think is a good role model in the classroom as well. And even though this doesn't sound right, sometimes it's a good idea to give that student a role in the classroom. The naughty ones are bored. They want to disrupt the classroom. So give them something to do. Hi, Frankie, can you hand out these papers for me? Can you write this on the board for me? And it makes them feel not like a bad student, but, oh, I can help. And now I want to help the teacher because they're giving me something to do. It's making me active in the classroom, and it can be a good way to establish a rapport, to help the student also respect you. So not being that bad person at the beginning, giving them something to do, asking them to wipe the board down, asking them to hand things out. And then eventually I would also say, talk to them after the classroom. After everyone leaves, don't kick them out, and then just don't say, hey, why are you so naughty? You can just ask them and say, why did you do that today? And talking to them like a peer on the same level shows them that you respect them as a person, and they want to feel respected. They want to feel seen. That's why they are acting so crazy in the classroom. So making them just say, hey, I'm listening to you. I hear you. This isn't good. Let's talk about it. And I think then you can establish trust, and having that trust with the student is really important.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of these things you talk about are about developing trust, and the students don't, if you start to build a relationship with a student, they don't want to hurt this relationship. So giving them extra tasks makes them feel really good, powerful and positive. I think also for you, because EF is unique, the classrooms are quite small, and this can be a challenge because if you have 3 naughty boys in a class, it's hard to have them all sitting away from each other. But in your classrooms, I think they are usually much larger, maybe 30 or 40 students. You can use this to your advantage. We don't have this advantage in EF. But if you have students that you know are always being naughty, always talking, use the size of your classroom to put them in different places in your classroom. And this might help reduce the problem before it becomes a big problem.
Okay, that's good. Ibu Jolly,
Yeah.
do you have any questions? Or we are now talking about the small kids, like 3 years old until 5, and
Yeah.
7 as they as a student. So if you have any,
Thank you. I just want to say hello to Olive and Patrick.
Hi.
It's time to meet both of you, but thank you for helping us, because by having you too, I think our students and also all of us as a lecturer at Wacana Christian University, we are encouraged to do the best for our students. And Olive, I think your story about how to handle that teenagers, it seems like a positive discipline for the teenagers. So that's very useful for their future life. Because if you have no discipline in your life, then what you will be in the future.
Yeah.
So that's we have a very important role for our students. So I'm glad to have both of you, and sorry for just here for the last part, I think, because I
No
miss
problem.
up the time.
oh
Because
yeah,
this is the time, 1 hour in advance compared to in Java time.
No problem.
It's my fault, not yours.
But I think we have a recording, yeah?
Yeah, I record it. So I record it. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm a good planner here, so don't worry.
Yeah, lucky me then.
So, yeah, Patrick and Olive.
And may I have something for Olive and Patrick in the future? I do hope that not just this is the first time and that's it. Maybe we continue this collaboration or partnership in order to not just make us more like English native speaker, but more like we share our experience as teachers, and also it can build our confidence in order to speak English.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a really nice idea. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think if we wanted to do this again sometime, maybe everyone can share their experience in the classroom and it can be a discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Patrick are teachers, but we don't know everything. Yeah, all of you have something important to share as well. And it would be nice to hear everyone's ideas. With teaching, as you know, there's not just one right way. There's lots of different good ways that you can.
Definitely.
So something that works for me, you think that's not really my style, and that's okay. But it would be great to hear everybody's experiences and what works for you, so you can also inspire each other.
Yeah. Okay.
But to me, that I can see that both of you have a good heart. That's the most important for our students.
Makasih.
Back to you, Frankie.
I want to say two things. One is, so I was doing the observations at EF for all of the teachers, and I would see best practices, things that are working very well in some classrooms, but it's also the personality of the teacher. So maybe Miss Olive is doing something. I can't tell Mr. Frankie to do the same thing because this isn't his personality. He has different strengths and his mind thinks differently. So it's not always the one correct way to do the teaching. It has to do with your personality, your interaction with students, everything. I'm happy to come back and to have another conversation sometime in the future. But I think what would be very, very helpful is for everyone coming to think about maybe some challenging situations, especially the new teachers, the new student teachers. If you have some experience, you have like Frederick, you have some challenging student who wants to give you a hard time and test you. Remember this experience, and then we can talk about it again. Or if you have a question, I really didn't know how to do something in the classroom, how to teach something, how to manage the student. Try to remember, maybe write it down, and people have 2 or 3 things to share, then we can talk about this all together. And this is a really good learning style.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Adoni has a question, I think. Yes. Wait a sec, Adoni. Adoni, you can go.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Maybe I'm the youngest person in this meeting.
Okay, no problem.
Really, you are the oldest.
Okay. I want to ask you a question, but I'm a student. You know, I have such great teachers in my university, but to be really honest, I don't really like some of their teaching method. You know, not because I don't understand every material that they are teaching, but it's more like I'm bored of monotonous teaching methods, and sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable, even though I try to be cool as cucumber. You know, I think teaching is not just about how to make students understand, but also how to make students feel comfortable. You know, some of my friends feel the same as me. So do you have any strategies? You know, I mean, not for teachers, but for me and other students to be comfortable with it, because you know, we can't force teachers to do as what we want them to do in classroom. So I
Mm.
try to be comfortable with, but it didn't work out, you know.
Do you
Okay.
mean, Adoni, do you mean you want to be more comfortable with your teachers, or you want your
Yeah, I mean,
students
with
to be comfortable with you?
with monotonous teaching method, sometimes
That you are getting from your lecture?
Yeah.
Ah. Huh.
Hopefully that's not Mr. Frankie, Pak Frankie.
First of all, I want to say sorry to all teachers.
You know, when I was in EF, I have a lot of correction from
Don't need to
Patrick and
mention
Olive.
name.
So maybe one of them. Okay, that's a good question. Yes.
Mm.
That's a very difficult question, Adoni, because you know, you don't want to disrespect your teacher and say, hey, this is boring. But maybe what you can do is ask more questions. I don't know what tell me as lecturers and teachers, what do you think about this? But if you're sitting in class and you're starting to daydream and you're not focusing and you think, okay, I need to mix it up, ask a question. Ask a question. Can you give me an example of this? Or I have an idea. Maybe not asking the teacher to change their approach, but you kind of contributing more in the classroom can help naturally change it. And it doesn't feel like you're intruding. You're just like, I have an idea. Can I share this idea? Or I have a question. Can I share this question? And hopefully that will maybe make it more interactive. That could maybe work. I don't know.
Mm.
Everyone tell me, I mean, as lecturers, how would that make you feel? I don't know how that would make you feel.
I hope it's not me.
Well, I know culturally it's a little different because here in Europe, it's really okay. We want questions. We want to challenge. It's okay for students to challenge teachers, but I know culturally it's different. You know, so I don't know what's comfortable for you in that situation, but maybe just sharing some more ideas. I don't know if that's acceptable in the classroom or not, but that's one idea that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that would be possible, or would you not feel comfortable doing that, Adoni?
Maybe, Adoni, I want to ask you, is this normal in a lecture that you have? Is it normal for students to raise their hand and ask a question, or is it usually just the lecturer speaking through?
Adoni?
It might be a difficult question for Adoni.
Thank you.
I think Adoni is one of the best students in my class because he is the only one who often asks questions. Actually, I like this kind of attitude. Like when he wants to know something more about the materials, then he will ask questions, and I like that. And yeah, it is also a kind of behavior that makes or force the teachers to study more, to learn more about the materials, not just to deliver to give lecture, but also need to learn something deeper that maybe the students can ask about this one. And then yeah, it's good, Adoni. You can influence your friends to learn more, to pay attention more to the lecture, and then maybe you can influence your friends to ask questions more. You can motivate your friends so that they have the same understanding, the same knowledge that you gained during your learning in the classroom. Yeah, you can keep this kind of attitude consistently. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adoni, I think that's a good question for some of the lecturers here, since they would be the ones who are experiencing that, to be honest. I mean, we can give some feedback, but, you know, again, with the cultural norms in Japan, I think it's an important point to consider.
I think, Adoni, as a student, you're not really in a position to ask your lecturers to change
Yeah.
their teaching style. I'm a student and a teacher as well. So it's funny, I can see some things that my teachers do to me that I don't like, and then I try to think about it while I'm teaching. But I think some of the lecturers, they have been giving these lessons for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for them to think about it because they said the same lecture 20 times already.
Yeah.
So if the students don't stop and say, wait, I don't understand this point, or can you please explain something more? They will just keep going and going in a straight line. So
Yeah.
you need to give them some feedback, and maybe it's raising your hand, maybe it's giving them some facial, not disrespectful, of course, but, and if you are one student doing this, it will be helpful. If you have 3 or 4 students who are giving this feedback during the lesson, then it becomes more like a conversation with the teacher and the student. And this, for me personally, and I think for most people, this is a much better learning style than sitting and listening.
Yeah.
And sitting
Yeah.
and listening, right? So
Be
think about
active.
think about what you can do to make the class more like a conversation.
Paco?
Yeah. When we are planning to have our English teaching for kids and also for teens, so what will be the best aim or goals we can put to make the range for EFL students? I mean, you know our EFL students in Kupang, so let's go back to my question. What will be the best goal, that expectation we want them to achieve, rather than just following, I mean, the trend of models on the syllabus and the curriculum. So what would you like to suggest as best? Just make us a glance of, well, you know, expectation that we expect, but also meeting the students and the nature of our students in Kupang. Thank you.
Okay. Wait, while you somebody answer the questions, I'm just reminding that we only have 1 hour, so it's 4:02 now. So I think this is gonna be last session.
Long.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, that, yeah.
Okay.
Pat, do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
So if I understand the question correctly, what are the general expectations of teachers for teachers, or what expectations should the teachers have for the students? Is that what you mean? Yeah. That's a great question, and also quite a difficult one to answer when you are talking very generally about students. But I think what's important to remember is to set our expectations realistically, something that is achievable. And achievable means different things for different age groups, different students as well in the classroom. And it's hard for me to say what your aims should be, but what I would recommend to find achievable aims for each student and each class is to keep notes after each class. So when you have a classroom, you teach a class, it might be good to take some notes. What was good? What did the students do well? What can you continue with in the next class and expect them to be able to do? What was something that was a little difficult for them? Then you start to understand what is achievable, what they can do in the lessons, and what they need more practice with. So I really can't say exactly what your aim should be, but that you do have to change your expectations of the students for every student and every class. And keeping notes can make that really helpful. So when you plan your lessons, you can look at your notes from the last class and say, oh, I remember Frederick did really well. He said this whole sentence. He's never done that before. So I know that I can push him and try to make more sentences in the future. Or together as a class, we learned all the vocabulary of animals. We know this, so we can use this information to move forward talking about colors in animals or adjectives in animals. So keeping notes about that is really important. Talking about important practices as teachers, being patient, being consistent are important, but also being adaptable. We have to understand that we have to always change. Teaching isn't just a box, right? Teaching is a circle. You're always changing your techniques and your interaction with your students. And I think some of the best teachers that I have met that have been very inspiring to me are always very good at self-reflection. So they take time after the class to think about it. What went well? What didn't go so well? And they think about the part that didn't go well and how they can improve. And that's extremely important. And a recommendation for me, for especially new teachers, is after you have an experience in the classroom, film yourself teaching and watch yourself teach. It's very strange. You're going to look at yourself going, oh, that's what I look like teaching. But for me, it's really helped me understand I talk a lot. I know I talk a lot. I don't need to talk so much. Watching myself teach, I was like, okay, I need to stop talking so much. I need to give clear directions. And it can really help you think about your style and what you can do better. Because when you're in the classroom, it's really hard to think about all of those things at the same time and remember them after class. You go from one class to the next class to the next class. And at the end of the day, whew, I don't remember what we talked about in the first class anymore.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Olive.
Yeah, I think definitely your ability, especially for new teachers, but also for old teachers too, is reflection, right, Frankie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, your ability, maybe take some notes, but think about challenging situations. Sure, videos are quite helpful. I think this question is a little bit difficult for me to answer. First, because students, they come in with different skills. Some students are learning faster. Some students have some kind of challenges. So it's not fair, I think, to say that every student should be able to do something the same way at the end of your lesson. Also very important is, why are students learning English? Because people have very different expectations for what English skills they want. And a student who wants to study abroad or get a visa for Australia, they have more focus on academic English and writing, reading. Some people, maybe they just want to work in tourism. They don't care about reading and writing. They just want to speak English. So think about what your students want from your class. Maybe just mom and dad make me come to English class, and that's the whole motivation, right? So you, even for something like that, for a student who doesn't maybe really want to be in your class, this is important to think about before you give your lesson, is what do they want? Why are they here? And then you can think about, how can I teach them to satisfy them?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
if I can
you.
add something.
Thank you.
It's like,
go ahead.
Teachers group discussion also is a very good one. Like when you were in EF, and then we are always talking together about some specific students, if we have problems with them, and then all the teachers come up with the ideas, and then they give opinions how to manage these students, and then we can get the more information, more input from other teachers. I think that's also.
I think more intensive sharing as this one will cool down my military approach in my teaching.
All right. Okay. So I'm 410 now. 410.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like we should ending this conversation soon because I'm just I have taught Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick. Yeah, we only have 1 hour for this. So but before we end this, like Ibu Joli and Pak Nani, Pak Ako, and Ibu Tiar here, maybe you can say something for the last statement for Miss Olive.
Okay.
I want like this is not the end. This is not the end.
Okay.
Of course, Miss Olive and Mr. Patrick, if you have time, yeah, you can. If we need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe in a few weeks or in a month or something we can meet again. I think it would be very helpful again to think about challenges and experience in your classroom. Write it down, think about it first, and then we can talk about it in 1 month.
Yes, sir.
And see, we can all give ideas like a conversation.
Okay, Ibu Tiar. Ibu Joli.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Olivia and Patrick. Yeah, I agree with Frankie that I hope that this is not the end of our meeting, but in the future we can work together and you can help our English study program to develop more in the teachers and the students. And we're planning to have like a English course for children or teenagers. And what I want to say or I want to ask is that one day we invite you to be like guest teachers online, maybe if
Online,
you cannot come offline in our classroom, then you can be a guest teacher in one of our class maybe. Then yeah, I hope that one day this can work well.
Sure.
That would be really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Ibu Joli. Pak
Me?
Ani, Pak Ako, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Pak Nani, yes.
Yeah. Actually, I still have some problem to discuss, but then later. Okay. But I have an idea. I think it
We
will.
ran out of time.
It's okay. No, it's not a question.
What have just Ibu Tiar said about the guest teacher by online is okay. It will be good to as a sport for students. Another thing is that thank you for the statement about the patience and developing the trust. This is the most things that I always fail. You know, teaching in campus and teaching the students in the village is a little bit different, and I always feel like I've failed when teaching the kids. So I think and we'll discuss about that, and then thank you very much for sharing with us about developing the trust with the students and also how to be patient. I'd like to manage myself for before going to manage the classroom. Thank you very much, Patrick and Olivia.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
See?
Yeah.
I have two things.
Yeah.
Yeah. First one, I think I want to share with our students who watch this or follow this discussion that they need to do their best because they love the children who they teach. That's the main thing. Because by feeling like that they like the children, they want to do the best for the children, then the children will feel accepted by the teacher. That's the first thing. And the last, I think we learn through our own experience as a teacher. Sometimes we want to do good things, but maybe we make mistakes. So we need to change as a teacher as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you so
all
much.
I want to
Yeah.
say. Yeah,
Okay.
thank
Well,
you.
so thank you, Frankie, once again for
Yes.
welcoming us, Patrick and Olive. And as on behalf of English Education Study Program, I would like to thank both of you and also the participants. And we wish you helping us with those, with all these things. And we really appreciate this learning, and we are taking this takeaway learning and experiences, and we are waiting for you know, helping through intensive sharing. Thank you.
Okay, Om Patrick, Miss
Yeah,
Olive.
very good.
Thank you so much, Om Patrick. Okay, so
Thank you. It was really fun to talk with everyone. I'm happy to share, and hopefully you learned something. Maybe you can think about this conversation again
Yes.
today or tomorrow, and maybe talk to
Yeah.
each other about some things, some new ideas, to help understand some of these new strategies.
okay,
Okay.
Miss Olive.
Frankie,
Yeah.
I would like to meet with you after this meeting for one moment as well. I just have some follow-up
Sure.
questions.
Okay. Okay, Miss Olive, thank you so much, Miss Olive.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye everyone.
Everyone.
Thank you, Patrick.
Terima kasih
Thank
ya.
you,
Yes, makasih banyak. Makasih.
Ah, terima kasih.
Jumpa lagi.
Sampai jumpa lagi ya.
Sama.
Sampai jumpa.
Yeah.